Alright, you guys, it is your girl Jalen Brunson, and I am your favorite goddess coach and your favorite alien, back at it again with another video. This video, we're gonna talk about obsession. Oh my gosh, obsession is such a huge topic, and it's something that I've gone through a lot in my life. This is something that I've struggled with a lot, and then I've also been on the receiving end. I've been on the chasing end when it came to this. But when I started to work on my divine femininity and doing the inner work on myself and understanding attraction from a subconscious mind level, that's when it all started to come together. I made a video talking about how to get a man to chase you, and if that scares you, it's like this energy of pursuing, because the masculine energy naturally, it's about going after and chasing or pursuing, getting the thing done, making it happen. It's the hustle mentality. And the feminine's about receiving. It's about letting it come towards you, being the magnet, being open, opening your heart up, and being really receptive and open and intuitive. Now, what happens is when we get into obsession mode and we have that super like, oh my God, this person's just always on my mind. I cannot let them go. They're stuck in my head. I need them. I'm craving them. What am I gonna do without them? I need to speak to them. If I don't speak to them, what is going on there? It has nothing to do with the person and everything to do with you and your subconscious BS belief systems. Because a lot of the times when we have that obsessive attraction, it's usually pointing back to something we feel like we are lacking in our lives. And the reason why we're so attracted to that person, because we believe that they embody something that we can't have. So you want it, because the only reason why you want to the certain point and to that type of level is because you feel like you can't have it, or you realize that you don't have it and you crave it so badly, because people want things that they feel like they can't have. So when you get into this point of obsession, it's almost debilitating, right? It freaking sucks. This person can't leave your mind and you feel like a crazy person. And this is coming from a Plutonic. Like, I am a Plutonic person, if you know what that means. Like, I have hella Pluto energy, Pluto in the first, very 8th housey. I'm very like, like when I love somebody, Mars and Cancer, it's like, I'm all the way in it, and I like to be completely engulfed. And I had to learn, along my life and in my journey, like, okay, how to get a handful and wrap my fingers around my obsessive tendencies. And then that's when I started to understand, like, I used to attract that energy too, where people would be so obsessed with me, and to the point where almost danger. So it got to the point where I had to learn about this topic. So I learned a lot about obsession and how to work through obsession, how to let go of obsession. Maybe you need to let go of the guy that you just had a breakup with, or maybe you need to let go, because the more that you let go of the resistance from that person actually coming towards you. Because when you're throwing someone energy and you're like, I want you, I want you, I want you, even if you're not even talking to them, even if this is something you're just thinking about, best believe on a subconscious level, that person is picking up on your energy and they're gonna treat you accordingly. Because, and I know you guys know this to be true, because guess what? I know you guys have been obsessed with somebody, and then the moment that you start to move on and you start to talk to someone new, what does that person do? They come back into the field, because they literally felt your energy move to a different place. So the key is, when you get into this obsession tendency, once again, like from that video, realize that your subconscious mind is having a field day. It's like, oh my God, this person represents everything I can't have. So the first tip to letting go of obsession is understanding, what is it about that person? What do they represent that I feel like I can't have? For example, I used to be so obsessed with celebrities, and I was like, oh my God, I love this celebrity, I love that celebrity. Oh, they're just so cool, they're just so famous and like so powerful, and just, oh, it would be so beautiful if they were to choose me out of everyone. I wanted to feel special. Oh my God, they're so cute, they're so attractive. And then when I really got down to it, and I didn't know this at the time, but the moment I actually started to take all that energy and pour it back into myself, and I poured it into my YouTube channel, I started my own projects, I started to put myself out there more, I started to feel good about myself. I started to see myself as a powerful person. I started to idolize myself and realize that I was amazing. Naturally, all of those people, all those men I used to obsess with, in one way, shape, or another, they came into my field. They DM'd me, they asked for my number, they tried to talk to me, we got introduced, whatever the case is. They all came back into my field the moment I let them go. Like completely let them go, got rid of it, like, oh, okay, I'm not even worried about that anymore. Because there's no more resistance. And naturally the masculine energy wants to come towards you, right? It wants to pursue you. So instead of obsessing over that person, understand what emotion does that person make you feel like? What does that person represent that you feel like you're missing? If it's power, how can you conjure up the feeling of power right now in your body? For me, it was taking control over my career and stepping into my power in the messages that I was teaching. And well, at first I wasn't teaching, I was doing entertainment. But then I stepped into it even deeper and I realized that I wanted to teach and I wanted to share wisdom. The more that I started to awaken on my journey, I had a whole transformation. But the more I tapped into what I actually wanted, what that person actually reflected to me, that's when they came towards me. So whether they represent freedom, whether they represent romance, whether they represent attractiveness, how can you feel attractive now? What can you do to make you feel more attractive? You can look at yourself in the mirror and just get hot and bothered with yourself every day. You can go take yourself out on a date. You can buy yourself some flowers or do something that makes you feel all warm and giggly. Whatever it is, do it now. Naturally, that's how you can stop the obsession, because you're giving yourself the thing that you feel like you're missing. And that's step one. Understand what you feel like you're missing and how can you conjure that feeling up now. 2, something I like to do, especially if it's an ex, especially if it's a person that I just really need to let go of. 1, once again, you want to understand why that person came into your life in the first place. What thing were they mirroring back at you? Because this is all a freaking reflection of who you are. Everything in front of you is the current representation of your current vibration. Everything in front of you is the current representation of your current vibration. Especially, oh my goodness, especially partnerships. Partnerships will lay it out all for you. If you want to see who you are, you want to see the things that you fail to see within yourself, look at your relationships. They came here to teach you some. So once you understand, like, okay, what lesson was I supposed to learn in this relationship? What was that person reflecting back towards me? Did that person reflect something that maybe you were jealous in a partnership, or your partner was jealous about you? They kind of got triggered by your success, or maybe they just weren't super romantic. Okay, whatever the case is. And then think about, okay, what was it? Like, why did they come into my life? What was I supposed to learn about this situation, about me? What was the evolving point? What were we supposed to heal within this partnership and relationship? For my last relationship, it was strongly around the feeling of being enough and recognizing that you are enough. Me and him both, we both had to learn that we are worthy. We are actually worthy individuals. So what was the lesson? And I know you can see through all the cheating and the heartbreak or whatever the case is, but what was the lesson? Because nothing is a coincidence. Everything comes towards you so that you can heal. The third thing that you can do is really, especially if it's a ex, let go of their stuff, right? So let go of their physical stuff if you have their physical stuff. Let go of the pictures if you can. Let go, definitely delete the number, unsave the number, okay? Because when you do these things, it's a step in the right direction. You're telling your subconscious mind that it's time to let go. You're downgrading their energy from your field. They're no longer on a pedestal because you're releasing the energy. You already recognize why the person came in. You say, okay, I feel that. I hear that, I experience that. Now, let's start to release that energy from our body, from our room, from our system, from our mind. Let it go. Mute them, whatever you gotta do. 4, once you get to a place where you're ready, so whether this is a breakup or whether this is just like a person you're obsessed with, even if you didn't date them, whatever the case is, you're crushing so hard and you feel like you're losing control, whatever the case is, definitely this is when we want to introduce the topic of not getting too caught up in one person. And I know it's controversial, but I'll tell you what, the happiest moments of my life was where I was dating multiple people, and not dating as in a relationship, but just dating and having fun and seeing multiple people and having really good experiences and going on lots of dates. And you don't have to sleep with all of them. You don't have to sleep with anyone, but you can just have a group of people that you talk to to, whether that's friends or even romantic people or people that want to take you out. Like, have a community, okay? It doesn't have to be huge, but just go on dates. Like I said, you don't gotta sleep with everybody, you don't gotta do X, Y, and Z, but you have fun, you talk to people, and you see and explore your options. Because when you have options, you have the opportunity to not be so freaking attached to one person and one outcome until that person that really is supposed to be with you shows up and they say, look, I'm trying to give you commitment. Say, look, I want to be your man. And they make it crystal clear to you with their actions, okay? Because you focus on who is showing up for you. And if that's the person that you see yourself being with, then you go for it. And if not, hey, you move on. But always exercise your options. That's something I really struggled with. I would, be in these things where I'm like, oh, I'm so lonely, I'm so sad. And the first person that I would meet that I really had like some type of connection with, I would just be like, oh my God, this is the one. No, sometimes they're not the one. Sometimes they're just a person that you kind of like. So allow yourself to explore, okay? Like, allow yourself to explore and to figure things out. And make sure that these people are high quality. Make sure they're high quality. It's quality over quantity for sure. You want high quality people who are healthy, who are working on themselves. When I say healthy, I mean mentally, spiritually, physically, and emotionally, are trying to just up level and are really down to earth and cool. Like, just high quality people, and, getting an understanding of what that means to you, writing that down. Like, what characteristics do you want and are looking for in partners? And write that down and get very clear about that. 5, take your energy back. When we get into these relationships and when we get into these like super massive crushes, we're literally giving so much energy to the point where like we're just so tired. We get exhausted, like that phase where you're like obsessing over somebody, it's exhausting because you can just sit there and you're just like thinking so hard and it feels so good. And then you're like, oh my God, this is so bad. Why am I thinking about them? Why can't I stop thinking about them? Oh my God, I went 5 minutes without thinking about them. Yay. And then you realize you thought about them again. Freak, it's so mentally exhausting. But imagine that's like you basically feeding that person so much of your energy. And especially if you were in a relationship, oh my God, you've shared and given so much of your energy. So you need to take it back. Literally take back your energy. Get into a meditative state and visualize the energy coming back to you. All the stuff that you gave to the other person, let it come back to you. There's a meditation on this in my Psychic Secrets of Seduction course. So definitely check out the course for that and like learn how to do that for real. But just visualize the energy coming back to you, everything that you've given that person, and filling it back up within yourself. It really does help. 6, this is like a random thing, but if a guy is starting to act iffy, like let's say you make plans with somebody. Let's say you have plans and whatever the case is. And the guy is like, you want to go out later, or do you want to go on a date? And let's say the date comes around and the day of the date comes around and that person still doesn't give you any details. They don't give you a time. They don't give you any clarity. Don't ever, 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 ever text and be like, are we still on? Question mark? Are you still there? Are we still on? No. If that ever happens, there's no clarity and he doesn't give you an answer of what time you're meeting or whatever the case is, don't bother. Don't bother. Don't reply. Don't do anything. Just let it go. And I know it's so hard in the moment because you want to see that person. You want to hang out with them. But I'm telling you, sis, let it go. Don't reply. Literally just fill your time up with something else that would give you that type of energy that you're seeking. And watch. It's like you basically are going to train people how to treat you. So if that person really is interested in you, they're gonna give you the time of day and they're gonna show you and they're gonna give you the details and they're gonna make it be known that they want to hang out with you. Period. And if they don't, they don't. And that's good because now you see what type of person you're dealing with. In my experience, I remember that happened to me where this guy, he was like, oh, let's hang out this weekend and let's hang out on Friday. And I'm like, great. And I remember being so excited, like, oh my God, I'm gonna hang out with him on Friday. It's gonna be so great. And then Friday comes along, crickets. He didn't hit me up. He didn't say anything, X, Y, and Z. And then I texted him and I was like, are we still on? He didn't text me until like the next day. And I was like, I texted him. I gave in. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna text him. I'm not gonna text him. I'm not gonna text back to this guy because this guy obviously, like, he has no clarity. If he actually wanted to hang out, he would make it happen. Trust me, when a guy wants to hang out with you, he's gonna do it. Like, it's gonna happen, period. So I remember I didn't text him, I didn't say anything to him. And I was like, if he really wants to hang out with me, he will come hang out with me. And he will make it the plan. And he will say something about it. And then I let it go. And I just gave myself the energy that I was seeking from that connection. And then boom. A week later, he hits me up and he's like, hey, I'm sorry about, previously, do you still want to hang? And I was like, oh yeah, sure, what's up? And he's like, okay, let's go here at this time on this day. And I'm like, oh yeah, great, that sounds great, I'll see you then. And literally, this was a guy that I was dating for quite a long time after that. But literally, you gotta teach people how to treat you. And when you're in that energy of like, oh my God, let me say something because I really wanna see him, the obsessive energy, no. Let it go. Just let go. Learn how to let go. Do these tips and I promise you, life becomes easier. Like, this has literally happened to me in so many different times and places. I had one guy who was like an artist. He was like a singer and he was like all over the place. But he would just say like, oh, I love hanging out with you. I love you. Da 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 da. Like, I want to hang out with you. But then it would just be like, oh, let's hang out on this day. Crickets. Then I got to a point where I was like, you know what? Bye. I'm done. Let it go. Like, I didn't tell him that, I just did that with my energy. Let it go, let it go. And then it got to a point where he was chasing after me and like, I want you to be my girlfriend, X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, you know what, actually, I don't wanna date you because I don't like your lifestyle. But you only get there if you hang up on the energy and you downgrade the energy and you just take him off of that pedestal in your mind and you give yourself the energy first. Because that's what that person is reflecting back to you. That person is literally only reflecting back the part of you that doesn't feel like you're worth it. Sorry to say, those little situations where you feel like you're chasing, that is you not feeling like you're worthy. But the moment you recognize who you are, you recognize that you're a goddess, boom. Off the pedestal, put yourself on a pedestal, they come to you. 7, this is kind of like the first point, but it's really getting deep. You want to really understand, where is this obsessive energy coming from? Where is it coming from? Like I said, why am I so drawn to that individual? It's taking it to a place where you want to realize and you want to start to identify with health. I made a video about this, but really a lot of the times our life is crappy because we have a subconscious addiction to trauma and toxicity.
If it ain't toxic, I don't want it.
It's like, oh my God, the drama is so exciting. The toxicity is so exciting. And you get so turned on with people who are not treating you right because that person is basically reflecting things from your childhood in moments where you didn't feel good enough as a child that you were taught with your parents. So therefore, once that person mirrors that back at you, they're like, oh my gosh, this is the man I was waiting for. But the thing about it is, and what I've learned, you have to literally give yourself the stuff that you feel like you were missing. Give yourself the stuff that you feel like you were missing and start to associate with health. Start to see health as something that can actually be fun and attainable. I used to have this where I used to feel like relationships, they just restrict you. They're not fun. And after a while, it just feels like a waste of time and you just feel stuck and trapped. And I literally sabotaged so many relationships because I felt like relationships were boring and they just were limiting. But when you actually start to understand that a healthy relationship actually can be so deep and so fulfilling and so loving and so healing, and you will literally start to become disgusted by toxicity. I literally have been disgusted by toxicity now. When you know how it's like a trend on social media to like love toxicity and to be like, oh my God, I love that toxic-ish. I hate it. I literally hate it. I can't even watch it on television shows because it makes me feel all that stuff that I went through. And that's how you know you're actually about to up level and to get to that place where you're ready to receive the relationship, where you're ready to receive the money. When you start getting disgusted or frustrated or irritated by the toxic drama stuff and you start to actually get turned on by health. I remember overhearing one time these guys when I was in LA, these writers, right, for these huge TV shows, they were talking and having a conversation and he was like, how do you like your wife? How's marriage? And he was like, my wife is vegetables in a world of cake and cupcakes and donuts. She's good, she tastes good, she's good for me, but I'm learning how to work with it. The junk food seems so freaking good until you end up 70, almost dead, because you have so much infections and so much bodily illnesses in your body. But the moment that you actually love health, You understand that the health actually is going to nourish you. The health is going to fulfill you and nourish you. And it doesn't have to be so dramatic and crazy, but it can be surprisingly pleasant. Beautiful surprises. How deep can your love go? Those things are going to start to excite you. And once that happens, you move out of becoming obsessed with the people who have the thing that you feel like you can't have, because you already are in the mind frame of giving yourself that energy first. And that is how you end the obsession cycle, by becoming a person who knows they are worthy of having what they desire. Period. That's what I've learned along the way when it comes to obsession. Like I said, I'm super 8th housey, super Pluto-y. I've learned about obsession, but the more that you give yourself the energy first, you literally become super magnetic and irresistible, not only to toxic people, but to people who actually are going to give you health and peace of mind. It's super cool. I hope you guys like this video. I hope you guys like those tips, and I hope I was able to help somebody calm down, release, take those deep breaths, right? Literally, the moment that you find yourself so in your mind, just bring yourself back into your body, connect back into your heart, connect back into your womb, connect back into your feet, and ground yourself in the physical body. Even go outside if you need to, because you're so in your mind when you're obsessing, but bring it back to the body. And that could be a way to just calm your energy down for sure. That's a whole other tip I just wrote in there. But yeah, I hope you guys love that video. Check out my course, Psychic Secrets of Seduction, which we dive deep into magnetism and learning how to become magnetic inside out and living the life that we desire, honey. Okay, period. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace out.